In the first half of this video, you will see students participating in a 2-cent discussion, which is a variation of a Socratic seminar. This is the second time that students are practicing using this discussion strategy, the first time being on Walk 2 Moons, with the 3 different levels of questioning. Today, you will see that students are using the 2-cent discussion in order to analyze 2 different articles, one being from lesson 2.19 and the other from 2.20. The first article is called Saying Farewell to a Faithful Pal, and the second article, Dogs Make Us Human. You will see that they are pulling evidence and commentary, and this is what they will be sharing in the 2-cent discussion.
All right. So let's resume. First thing I want to look at or review is the topic or title for this embedded assessment. Okay, what was that? India? How pets help people. Okay, we are defending that. So that's kind of one fact we've learned, right? What are some other facts we've learned this week as far as what we're going to be doing for the upcoming embedded assessment? Emily, what you got?
In our body paragraph, we have to write 8 sentences.
Good. Our body paragraphs have moved from 6 sentences to 8 sentences. Very good. Let's try somebody new. What you got?
How to write a thesis statement.
How to write a thesis statement. And I said college kids are doing that, so y'all are on it. Okay? Ava, what else?
That you have to have about the same number of letters when you're listing the reasons why pets help people.
Great. And what was that technically called? 2 words. Holly? Parallel structure. Fabulous. Let's move to my favorite, the 2 ahas that I now have. Basically, it's you having your T light bulb moment. You're moving from to bingo light bulb. I totally understand it. So this is different for everybody. It's not really a right or wrong answer. What was an aha moment that you had, Amaya? How to make a thesis. And it felt good, right? Good. Okay, Grace?
We did semicolons.
Semicolons, good.
Figuring out 3 reasons I could use.
Figuring out 3 reasons you could use, and that is part of your thesis.
When I learned about the parallel structure.
Parallel structure. Last one. Parallel structure. Good. And then what's one question you still have? And hopefully by the end of the day, we can answer it. And we're not writing our paper just yet, so we will get some light bulb, some more aha moments. Questions we still have. Holden.
How long it takes to complete an expository essay in 1 day?
Okay, so you're a little worried about completing it in 1 day. That's your maybe worry, concern, question? Am I understanding you? Fabulous. And we will be talking about that because this is a little bit of a longer paper, so you will have a little bit more time. Who else? Am I that fabulous that you have no questions? If you look at the top of 146, you guys should see reflecting on Marley textual evidence. Are y'all there? Put your finger on that. Learning targets underneath. Who can read that for me? Jackson.
Learning targets. Identify and interpret textual evidence. Write a response to a prompt using textual evidence to
Very good. Look at that first one again. Read it really loud and proud, Jackson.
identify and interpret textual evidence.
Did we do that already earlier this week? So most of us are probably at least H, if not T, on pulling out evidence. Okay? Here's the one thing I'm seeing and why we're going to do it again today. A lot of us, we're getting a little excited with our highlighters, and we're just kind of going highlighter happy. We're just coloring. Okay? Maybe not so much this class, but when we highlight something, why are we highlighting it? What should we ask ourselves? India.
If it would be useful for evidence
Is it useful for evidence? So what would it need to be proving? Anybody new? Anybody new? What would it be proving? How pets help people. Very good. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put on a timer, and you guys are going to have 12 minutes to do 2 things for me. Are you ready? Okay, how many of you have seen the movie Marley and Me? Probably cried when you watched it. Okay, so if you haven't, it's okay. You're still going to learn about Marley today. Okay, if you've seen the movie, you kind of know what's going to be happening in the story today. So this is a memoir written by Josh Grogan, okay, and it's called Saying Farewell to a Faithful Pal. If you look, keep your hand here, flip the page. And you'll see on the bottom of 149, you have a second article that's called what? Dogs Make Us Human. We know both of them are going to be about dogs. And what do you think I'm going to want you to do in these articles? Highlight. So what are we going to be highlighting for? Evidence. Good. Now, we're going to do about 12 minutes to highlight both of these, because if you look, they're both kind of short, okay? And they're really interesting to read, so you'll probably fly through them. I want you to highlight any and everything you see that proves what? How pets help people, how dogs help people. You may even get to see how some other animals help people. Good? Do it independently, because this is why we're in a circle. Afterwards, then we'll start discussing as a group, and I'll let you know how that's going to roll. So I'm going to start the timer, flip back to saying farewell to a faithful pal. Independently, we're highlighting, just like earlier this week, annotating everything we see that proves how animals help people. Go ahead. What are we doing? To share out our evidence and to kind of help really check ourselves and each other that we're not just going highlight or happy, right? We want to make sure that the evidence we're pulling is actually proving what? Everybody. Very good. Okay, so we will be doing another 2-cent discussion. Do y'all remember doing this last time? Yes. We actually had more fun than we thought we would. It seemed a little intimidating, and you guys totally rocked it and blew me away last time. I bragged on y'all to everyone else. So I want to review what a 2-cent discussion. I'm sorry, what? I don't like to compare, but y'all did pretty great for like 7 o'clock in the morning, right? 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to review the guidelines. Overall, what a 2-cent discussion looks like. Then we created norms last time. We talked about what it means to be a good speaker and a good listener in a 2-cent discussion. And it's only our second time. We're not going to be perfect, but it's a fun way to share out what we highlighted. Okay, so let's look at the norms and the guidelines. Guidelines first. Each student starts off with 2 cents, right? Tell me what the 2 cents are for. What you're going to use them for. Yes?
Asking questions, agreeing, disagreeing, and support.
Very good. Okay, so you're going to be agreeing with people, disagreeing, supporting them, adding on. Okay, what do you do with the cents? Do they stay on your desk the whole time?
Throw them in the center.
You throw them in the center, one by one, when what?
When you talk.
When you talk. What if you say something just to be the class clown? You take the walk of shame. Exactly. So what does that look like? You walk in the middle. You're the only one. Have to get up and get your penny, and we're all looking at you like, shame, shame. Okay? So let's just make sure that when you're tossing in your penny, it's something meaningful, right? We all good with that? Okay. You're going to use your springboard book. So last time we used Walk 2 Moons, right? This time we're going to use our springboard book. We're going to go one text at a time. First, we're going to look at saying farewell to a faithful pal about sad, pitiful Marley, right? And then we're going to look at our second text, dogs make us human. You all good with that? Times to speak this time. Look up at the board for me. Times to speak is when you're sharing evidence found or commentating. So last time we did question, answer, right? You all remember doing that, those 3 levels of questions? Yes. Well, there are no questions this time. So here's how I'd like for it to bounce around. I'd like for someone to share evidence they found. And then the next person's going to say commentary. Basically, they're helping check and prove that that evidence is actually relevant. And it's proving how everybody. Good. So it should look kind of like evidence, commentary, evidence, commentary, evidence, commentary. Now, I also am fine with you guys throwing in a personal or a real life connection. So maybe in Marley and Me, when they were talking about Marley, it reminded you of your own pet at home or your grandma's pet or a pet you saw in a TV show. You mentioning that? Where would you put that in your essay? As your second piece of evidence, because that piece of evidence is used as real life evidence, right? So I'm okay with that. Are we understanding how this 2-cent discussion is going to flow? Same as last time, just a little bit different content. Okay, our norms. Who can?
I think that pets help people because on page 147 and underneath the life lessons line section, It says, a person can learn a lot from a dog, even a loopy one like ours. Marley taught me about living each day with unbridled exuberance and joy, about seizing the moment and following your heart. As he grew old and achy, he taught me about optimism in the face of adversity. And mostly he taught me about friendship and selflessness and all above else unwavering loyalty. So this proves that the dogs can teach really important lessons that can affect your life and help you learn things. Bobby? I agree because on page 148, it states that whenever he lost his dog, he missed them because of all the things that he taught them. And it's kind of like a grandparent or a parent passing away because they also teach you valuable life lessons. So I have something to say back to saying farewell to a faithful pet because I believe you left it. In life lessons learned, it says, he taught me to appreciate the simple things, a walk in the woods, a fresh snowfall, a nap in the winter, sunlight. That helps because most of the time we're really stressed out with big things like money and financial issues and medical problems and family. But when you learn to appreciate the simple things, like a walk in the woods, you really just stop getting stressed out and you just feel happy inside and you just can't stop being happy for a while. It leaves you. Animals, not many listen though, that's the problem. And this reminds me of how even though some people don't listen, the people who actually have pets, they understand and they learn valuable lessons and assist us, even with disabilities. You know? It makes me think of the quote from Walton Reams, you don't notice the worth of the well.
Tear, I love it.
Because you don't know, when Marley used to knock stuff over and she used to bite the table, I'm pretty sure they probably yelled at her, but at the end when they said, Marley, you're a great dog, they noticed that she really helped a lot with it.
When he said the line on 147, that wild beast gently rested his blocky head on her lap and just whimpered, I got the next sentence. He somehow understood there was something special and let them climb all over him, tugging his ears and pulling out little fistfuls of fur. So the dogs somehow understood that babies are something, or the dog somehow understood that humans are something special in the world, and that he knew that even though he tears up everything else in their house,
With the interruption, we are testing the intercom system.
he knew that the babies were very gentle and they were very delicate.
I agree with what you said because on page 147 it states, one day when a stranger tried to hold one of the children, our jolly giant showed a ferocity when we never imagined was inside him, and that means that he was just trying to protect the kids. He didn't mean any harm. I mean, that's kind of his job.
Dad said because we have 2 big labs and anytime someone's riding a bike or walking on the road, they always bark. So we know that they're protective and they're always protective.
On page 148, the narrator of the story is talking about the dog, saying, mostly he taught me about friendship and selflessness, and above all that, unaware and loyalty. And I can connect that because dogs can teach you life lessons. And whenever we got my dog before that, my sister would never take responsibility for anything. But whenever we got the dog, she took responsibility for feeding it, walking her out, and she's always been responsible for all her things now, ever since we got the dog.
Love it. Freeze for a second. How do we think this discussion went better than last time? Because y'all, I have so many tally marks compared to what I showed y'all. The accountable talk. Let's talk about that. India?
I think this time was better than last time because we were able to use different things from different resources from the packet and from other books that we read in class.
Very good. And one of our unpacking skills says that you're going to have to provide evidence from multiple sources. How do we feel about, let's say, do we feel better about pulling evidence? Anybody had an aha moment about pulling evidence? Let's see a QHT just to end with pulling evidence. I hope we're all T. QHT, give it to me, 1, 2, 3. What are we? That makes my heart happy. Okay, here's what I need for you to do.
The second half of this video focuses on lesson 2.21. Where the video begins, you will see and hear that students have already viewed the film Temple Grandin, and while viewing, pulled out evidence that defends the topic of this embedded assessment, which is that animals benefit the lives of humans. Here, specifically, the life of Temple Grandin. Students were very excited to explore the life of Temple Grandin more and read both articles provided in lesson 2.21. The video begins on page 153 in this lesson, number 3. Where they were allowed to choose the strategy that they feel most comfortable, or T, with, in order to pull out more evidence that Temple Grandin was benefited by animals in her life.
In order to share out our depth of knowledge questions, and they're really just deep questions that you would see on one of our tests, right? So what we're going to do is do the hand-up, stand-up strategy, okay? We've done it before. It's been a little minute. This little visual right here helps us review the directions. Somebody want to stand up and be my Vanna White and model with me? Ava Schmidt. All right. So you're going to be, when you're looking for a partner, you're going to be walking around with your hand in the air. Imagine there's a bunch of us, not just Ava and I, right? So we're looking for a partner we haven't had before. We're going to lock eyes, and we're going to walk towards each other. We're going to high five, meaning we are partners. Say hello. Hi, and then we're going to start asking each other a question. Say I'll let Ava go first. Question, I'll answer it, then my turn. I'll ask my question, she'll answer it. We'll say good job, and we'll walk around looking for another partner. Thank you very much, Vanna White. All right, so do we understand how this is going to work? It is not a time to act silly and go, right? Or see someone and say, hey, how about that weather outside? Let's talk about that. Be on task, because as soon as you're done, I start rotating for a new partner. We want to see at least 3 different people. Do we understand how this is going to work? Yes? Questions, Holly?
Do we have to wait for you to go find another partner?
No, let's let it flow this time. You don't have to wait on me to find another partner. You'll just look around, and what if there's no one else ready? You'll just keep walking until you see someone new ready. Do we understand? Everybody have their question with them? Okay, you need to stand up holding your question. You really don't need anything to write with. We're just going to verbally communicate with each other. Okay, we need our Springboard books open to 152 and interactive notebooks open to 51. And that's going to set us up for today. We are still in Temple Grandin's world, right? It took us 2 days to watch the clips. While we watched the clips, what did we do? What was the point? We were not just having a little Netflix moment. What was the point of watching the movie? Holden?
To provide evidence for our last reason, and so we could use that for our last body paragraph.
Good. Last reason from our
Thesis
statements. Very good. Okay? So we are trying to find evidence. I'm going to repeat what you said. We're trying to find evidence that's going to go in the last body paragraph of our essays. And being that a thesis statement is the map, right? We know that reason 3 goes with body paragraph 3. Very good. So here's what we're going to do today. We're still going to be talking about Temple, but this time we're going to do the normal textual evidence. We're going to look, instead of at a movie, we're going to look at 2 texts about Temple Grandin. Get talking. All right, what do we have?
You want me to first? Can you explain how Chestnut, the special horse, affected Temple Grandin?
He affected her because they connected in a special way, and the horse also had a special disability or something. And can you explain how to write a body paragraph based off of a movie?
Based off of the movie?
As far as how to put in the
Body paragraph 3.
how to put in the what you got from the movie.
Yeah, evidence.
The evidence. Good. That's the word I was looking for. Great job. Keep talking. What was your question?
How is Temple Grandin related to companion pets?
Okay. How is Temple Grandin related to companion pets?
Well, both of them, like for Chestnut, both of them were very angered very easily.
Okay.
But when they reacted together, they both were very calm.
Okay. So in a thesis statement, what reason would that be? Maybe you could prove that.
Maybe Chestnut could sense
Cool.
that
Okay.
she was maybe the same way.
Awesome.
And it didn't feel like it was the only one.
Fabulous. Keep going. What do we have? Oh, new partners? New partners. What do we have?
How would you apply what you learned to develop a thesis statement? What was it again? How would you apply what you learned to develop a thesis statement?
So maybe you're asking him what parts are in a thesis? Is that what I'm understanding? Okay. So what parts make up a thesis?
You need to have the
1 minute.
the parallel structure.
That's correct.
And your 3 reasons
Fabulous.
to tell you what to write your body paragraph.
Cool. Love it. Raise your hands. Hand up, stand up, find a partner, and let's mingle. Go ahead. Excuse me. Somebody just ask a question? Recap me. What are we asking? 30 seconds.
Can you explain how animals help temple brain?
Well, Chestnut, the horse, well, she found him in a barn, and then, like, he also had, like, a problem. So, like, she went by him, and, like, it calmed her down, and, like, it was like a friend to her.
Cool. So if in your thesis statement, one of your reasons was animals calm people, that would be on the money, right? Awesome. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, wrap it up. You have 5 seconds to get to your desk. 5, 4, silent by 1, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Anybody have something fabulous, a light bulb moment that they made in their hand up, stand up, one of their matches? What you got?
What would happen if we did not have evidence for our body paragraphs?
Ooh, I like that. What would happen if you had no evidence in your body paragraphs?
You wouldn't be able to justify your answer.
Ooh, I like that word, justify. You wouldn't be able to justify your thesis. And that is the whole central part of our paper. Last one. Kaylin?
Can you explain how writing a thesis statement mapped out our whole paper?
Can you explain how writing a thesis statement mapped out our whole paper? And it is cheesy, but what did I tell you to sing? I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map. It's cheesy, but now you'll never forget that it is a map. So someone explain that to me very, very quickly. What you got, Genevieve?
The thesis statement lays out what your paragraphs are going to be about.
Which paragraphs?
Body 1, 2, and 3.
Love it. Fabulous. So this was just meant to help us wrap up all that we've learned for this embedded assessment because we are in the home stretch. This is the last article where we are reading and pulling evidence from for the body paragraphs. Then we just have our conclusion and we are ready to type on Springboard Digital and submit it. We're going to be doing it a tiny bit different this time. You'll enjoy it. So let's put that question to the side, save it for a later date. And what I would like for us to look at is 152 in Springboard and 51 in our notebook. Are we ready?
No.
Let's get ready. This puts us at activity 2.21, synthesizing Temple's story. Who can read those learning targets for?
Once students chose the strategy that they felt most comfortable with, we listened to the Springboard Digital audio version of both articles, while I walked around the room to monitor and make sure that students were actually implementing the strategies that they chose. Afterwards, we also used Springboard Digital to demonstrate how something like metacognitive markers can be used to pull out evidence. Students assisted in this in order to show me that they in fact had pulled out evidence of their own. Afterwards, I began sharing out directions for the alternative creative assignment in order to share out evidence, which students have become well acquainted with at this point. The creative alternative assignment was added into this lesson, still matching the learning targets, in order to keep it fresh and to keep students engaged in order to make sure that evidence was something that they were becoming T with, now that the embedded assessment was right around the corner.
Today. Aiden.
Analyze and summarize
apply reading strategies to an autobiography and use textual evidence to respond to our writing prompt.
Okay, what specifically do we see in those learning targets that we have been practicing almost every single day for EA2? Yes.
You have to analyze and summarize the main ideas in the text.
Okay, analyze and summarize the main ideas in a text, aka pulling out evidence. We are detectives, lawyers, whatever you want to say. We've been all about the evidence, right? So we're going to skip page 152 because it's all about the movie, taking notes on the movie, and we have done that. The last 2 class periods were dedicated to watching the film and pulling out evidence that proves what? How Temple was helped by animals. Excellent. So look at the top of page 153. 153, number 3. Taylor, can you read that for me really loud and proud? Top of 153, number 3.
You have used a variety of reading strategies in this unit. Rate your understanding of each strategy in the chart below. Then add 1 or 2 additional reading strategies that you are ready to use on your own.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to stop you there. So let's look, and I'm going to pull it up here. These are strategies. Nod your head as I go through them if we have done them. Chunking the text, which means taking out a piece. Absolutely. Using context clues if we don't know what a word means. Marking the text. Big nod on that one. Questioning the text. We ask questions and answer them from the text. Yes. Graphic organizer. You betcha, right? We always use those. Summarizing. Double entry journal. So we have officially done all of these strategies. I want you to do a very, very quick check-in on these strategies, Q, H, or T. Okay? And in this organizer, you'll think QHT, what am I? But then you'll put a check. This is basically, I'm still getting familiar with this strategy. That would be equal to Q. I am comfortable using the strategy with a little help, H. I am ready to use this strategy on my own, T. So after you check, like for instance, marking the text, we are probably all T. So I would put a check there. So quickly put a check for each of these where you stand, Q, H, or T, and then look at your T's and pick the one you feel most comfortable with. You get the choice. What strategy are you going to use to pull evidence out of the article we are reading today? You're doing chunking the text. You're just going to look at a specific chunk. Alex, love it. All right. Using context clues. Anybody? All right. Marking the text. That's me too. More specifically, you're going to see I'm going to highlight. Okay. Questioning the text. All right. We have a few. Graphic organizer. They're going to either make their own or write in the organizer in your notebook. All right. Summarizing. Yeah, that's one that's very easy to do, and we're probably really comfortable with it. We chose. What are we doing with that strategy? Well, we are pulling evidence. Very good. And the evidence is proving what?
How pets help people.
How pets help people, and more specifically, who are we focusing on this week? Temple Grandin. Okay? Okay, do we all have at least one really strong piece of evidence from our marking? I see some markings on our paper. Okay. If you guys look up here, and y'all can help me find maybe one more. In last hour, a few of us had the strategy of marking the text, and they used highlighters, and so did I up here. They helped me pull out, just to show you guys as an example to model for you. These were 2 pieces of evidence that we pulled out. Who can read this for me? What you got? Go ahead.
I love the horses. I was so wrapped up in them that I spent every spare moment working the barns. I was dedicated to keeping the barn clean, making sure the horses were groomed.
Okay, good. The next one. The next one, what do we see? In 14. Who can read that one for me? Okay, what you see?
Animals kept me going. I spent every walking minute that I didn't have to be studying or going to school with those horses.
Good. Anybody have another one we can add? Kaylin, I'll do it up here. Okay, very good, and I will highlight it. This is just to show you guys there's multiple ways, different strategies that we could have used to pull out evidence, and these are multiple different strong pieces of evidence. Right now, I want you to take whatever strongest piece of evidence you have, and you are going to go to the graphic organizer, page 51 in your notebook. If you look at page 51 in your notebook, can you get the light closest to me off for a second? What's the point of us using this graphic organizer, guys, in our notebook? Taylor.
For our body paragraphs.
To make sure we have evidence pulled out for our body paragraphs. Very good. And those pieces of evidence are proving the what?
The thesis statement?
The thesis statement and the reasons in that thesis. So you guys look, here's my example. I am trying to prove my reason 3 from my thesis, since this will go in body paragraph 3, was that animals aid us. My evidence, quote unquote, animals kept me going. I defended it with commentary. What does commentary start with? Everybody. This shows or this proves. So right now on your organizer, just fill out that first row just like I did. Any piece of evidence that you find is really strong to back up your reason from your thesis, from my story that we just read. Like most of us are done, or at least wrapping up our graphic organizer. So we have some people who are ready to share. How does this, first of all, what is this? It's an advertisement for vitamins, okay? How does this connect to the current embedded assessment that we are working towards? Genevieve.
Because they used facts to prove why you should buy their medicine.
Okay, they use facts, aka also known as
Evidence.
So how does that connect to our embedded assessment?
Because in our embedded assessment, we're supposed to have evidence to prove why pets help people.
Good. And pets help people can be found in the
Text.
blank statement of all of our papers, the thesis, correct. So here's what I'm going to allow you to do, because I know we're kind of wanting to mix it up as far as sharing out evidence, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create our own advertisement. As a group, with the time we have left, so you're going to have to watch your time. The directions will be up here on the board. Give my board a second to come back to life. You're going to use these pieces of chart paper. If you feel like this is too big for your advertisement, whatever vision y'all have, you can just fold it in half, okay? Or even cut it. Here's what you will do. You will work as a group to create an advertisement that will convince others that they should also believe that pets or animals do what? Help people. You're going to work together to pull one strongest piece of evidence from that Temple Grandin article we just read. You'll put it onto your advertisement with quotation marks, of course, in order to avoid plagiarism. Then you will begin your advertisement with a really large picture, catchy slogan, title. Think of the ones that you see in town on the billboards. Then you'll add that one piece of evidence that y'all decided is the strongest. So if you think to this, they have their evidence really big. They have a really big picture as well. There's lots of color. And there's a catchy slogan. Make one-a-day Flintstones part of you and your child's healthy lifestyle. So 3 things we need on it. Picture, evidence, catchy slogan or title. And of course, make it beautiful. We need all hands on deck, meaning it's not just Ashlyn working and the 4 of you staring at her. If you're not artsy, like me, I get it. Be the handwriting person. You don't have to be the artist. Everyone must be doing something because you want to get it done in about 15 minutes. But you have 6 sets of hands that you can fit onto here. Do we understand? Okay, so let's try to agree on the strongest piece of evidence.
Okay. I wrote down people and animals are supposed to be together.
Yay or nay? Do we agree or disagree that it's very strong? Okay, cool.
Okay.
So y'all both agree that's y'all's evidence.
Okay.
What type of title can you put and what picture do you want to do to represent that people and animals are supposed to be together?
Maybe like a person and a dog at the top.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She's gonna draw the human, I'm gonna draw a dog.
Okay, so we have that. We have the evidence, and what title can we put?
You could put like where like why humans need dogs. You could put like a real.
So you want to put a question version?
Yeah.
Why do humans need dogs? Really big? Okay, what's your evidence? Can you share with me?
Yeah, we said that pets help people because animals kept her going.
Animals kept me going, so that's in paragraph 14. Put it in quotes. I love it. Is that going to be in big?
Animals are from the doggy door to our heart.
I love that. Okay, write it. A dog what? Hold on one second.
Wait, I thought we were doing just a circle.
We're doing a dog what, y'all?
We're doing a cartoon dog standing up and doing this weird pose.
Okay, and then what's your evidence?
Animals.
He needs help making a catchy slogan or a catchy like little phrase.
Animal a day.
Did you hear directions?
The doctor away.
So we're trying to make an advertisement about what? How? Yeah, and specifically we're using something from the story today, and the story was on who? Sure. So what piece of evidence are y'all using here, guys?
Animals kept
Animals. Animals kept me going. Perfect. Okay. So why don't you help Pierce create a catchy phrase? You know how like they'll have like I'm loving it is McDonald's phrase. What's a phrase y'all could do right now for pets help people? Oh, I love that. An animal a day keeps the doctor away. That's what y'all are gonna do?
Or like an animal a day keeps a stranger away.
Oh, cool. Either one, because dogs both help our health.